Hello and welcome to another edition of Personal Health and Fitness. I'm your host, Chad Marshak. My program today is on acupuncture, and we're here at Three Rivers Health Solutions in Springfield, Illinois, and I have a special guest with me, Dr. Clint Scott. Clint,
Chad?
you want me to call you Dr. Scott?
Clint's fine.
Clint's fine.
Right.
I appreciate you being here with me today. I have a lot of questions to ask you today about acupuncture, and we've known each other for a pretty long time, and I really like the fact that you've got a great background. You know, you have your undergrad degree and your master's degree from Illinois State University in physical education with an emphasis in exercise
Physiology.
physiology. Right. And you also went on to become a chiropractor. You went to Logan.
Went to Logan University in Chesterfield.
Right. So your background is rare, and that's why I think that you're going to bring a lot to the program today and helping me understand more about acupuncture and how it works. Now, I know it's more of a traditional Eastern philosophy, and obviously we live in the good old Midwest, so the Western philosophy is a little bit different, but I really like to bring both philosophies together because I think both Western and Eastern medicine can complement one another. Tell me a little bit about your background and you know how you got started in acupuncture.
Well, Chad, you know, it stems from a long time ago when I actually, you know, as I was growing up, I was always interested in the human movement and how everything works and how the health of an individual is tied with what they eat, how they move, and lack of movement. Right. So throughout school, you know, while some of my buddies were reading car magazines, I was reading magazines about how you build bodies and how things work and how functions happen in the body. And I actually moved into more of a training at Illinois State University and took that to a master's degree in essentially exercise physiology. Right. Upon graduating, I sought to get into cardiac rehabilitation. Okay. When I got in there, there was just something else burning inside of me that I wasn't quite getting what I wanted as far as helping individuals be the best they could be. Right. Had a lot of fun. It's a great program. St. John's Hospital, they're wonderful people. But I just wasn't quite at the level that I wanted to be. So I started looking into chiropractic school. And chiropractic school, it was something that I hadn't really ever thought about. But once I started looking into it, I was amazed that if you can take the pressure off the nerves and actually make these nerves function at full capacity, you can give a person their life back. Sure. And you know, you can't necessarily add years onto it, but you can make the years that they have so much better. So when I graduated from Logan College, I went out to Phoenix, Arizona to practice with a friend of mine. And when I got out there, Phoenix has a vast understanding. The whole Arizona area has a vast understanding of acupuncture. And I started looking into acupuncture because some of my patients, as I'd lay them on the table, they would get to the point where they were just about well, but I still knew I could get more from them. Sure. But I just couldn't quite get it with the adjustments themselves. So I started looking into acupuncture. Dr. Steve Brown, that I was studying with out there, practicing with, he was the one that introduced me to it. Okay. And showed me how to do it. And the results we were getting with these people were profound. We had people coming in with migraine headaches that, you know, they were about to lose their job, their family life was in shambles, you know, their everyday living was gone. And, you know, 3-4 treatments, these people are back up to living, their home life's back, they're happy, you know, they're enjoying life again. Sure. And when I really saw that, you know, with chiropractic you can get a certain distance, but adding acupuncture in with it even makes it better. I started looking at the acupuncture like, you know what, if I can do this, can we do this in shorter sessions and get people back on their feet without spending a lot of their extra money? You know as well as I do, in this time of day, when the economy is the way it is, people are always looking to make sure that they're not spending extra money. Sure. That they want to make sure that they're getting the best possible health care they can, they're banging for their buck, right? So when I looked at the system that I used, I thought, you know, let's make this work, but let's make it work to a form to where people can afford it. Sometimes healthcare gets out of line. People don't have insurance to cover this, insurance to cover that. Acupuncture is something that sometimes is covered by insurance, but not always. Right, and I know it's relatively inexpensive too. I mean, you could be comparable to, say, taking your significant other out to Applebee's for an evening meal. So it's affordable. It's much more affordable than people might think otherwise. Exactly, exactly. And you know, from case to case, everybody's different. If you've been dealing with something for a long time, you can't undo it overnight.
Right,
So sometimes what it takes is it takes a few extra sessions.
Right.
Normally in my office, 3 to 5 sessions, you're probably really close to being as best you're going to be.
Certainly.
You know, acupuncture won't make you 100% again, but it can give you a lot of insight into, you know, what you can possibly get.
Okay.
And a lot of times, Chad, what happens is people lose hope. You know, they've lived this way for so long that they really don't have an understanding of what normal is or what happy is. And, you know, you go from anywhere from anxiety, people have depression, and they get caught in a downward cycle. You know, this downward spiral tears everything up, tears up their job, you know, like I said, their home life, just everything that we take for granted. Some of these folks are, you know, they're in a bad way. My whole focus and my burning desire is to get people to understand their full potential. And, you know, acupuncture is something that once I started studying it, I put chiropractic aside because there's other chiropractors out there that do a fine job. I refer to a lot of them here in Springfield, and, you know, they can handle that. My focus now is getting the body's energy put back together.
So I want to understand more about acupuncture and how it works, and I think our audience probably does too. A lot of people don't understand what it is, how it works. What type of individual might you be able to help? You know, in the Western philosophy of medicine, you know, there are a lot of specialties. You have your orthopedic physicians and your cardiologists, your cardiac surgeons and your cancer specialists, so on and so forth. But in acupuncture, you know, a lot of people know where to go in terms of what medical treatment they might need. But how do they know if acupuncture might be for them?
Basically, there's two things you got to have, and I joke with people a lot when I talk to them about it, and they ask me if acupuncture will work for them. And I basically tell them, I said, you have to have two things. You got to be breathing, and you got to have a heartbeat.
Okay.
You know, it's as simple as that.
Right.
Anybody can get benefits from acupuncture, from athletes that are just trying to enhance their performance, from the common person that just has a job and has a family and just wants to feel better. All the way to people that are suffering from like fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, daily things that they really don't have control over. They can gain benefit through acupuncture. And that's one of the things that really fascinated me with acupuncture is the fact that when you try to put Eastern and Western medicine together, you really got to stop thinking in the Western manner. The Western manner is not a prevention type of a manner.
It's much more allopathic.
Exactly.
Whereas Eastern's a little more naturopathic.
Exactly.
Right.
Eastern medicine, they don't really have what we would call certain diseases or names for stuff. What they do is they worry about stagnation. If your body is stagnant, if your blood is not moving through, if your body's energy is not moving correctly, that's what Eastern medicine looks at. They look at correcting that. An interesting tidbit that I learned while I was studying acupuncture is the old Chinese doctors in the village would get paid a few cents every day, be it how bartering system or whatever worked back then, when they were healthy. The day they showed signs of not being healthy, they didn't pay. So it's interesting that
we
now
have that system here in the United
exactly.
States?
But now what we have over here is complete opposite.
Sure.
We have an opposite program saying that you know, until you get sick, the doctor really doesn't get paid. So not to knock anything, but a prevention type of a program is where this country's starting to shift towards, because people are tired of being on medications. They're wasting expendable income that they could be spending having time with their family and enjoying life on medications that are basically just mirroring and masking the situation instead of actually enhancing their life.
I'm a big preventative fan, so I think a lot of people need to be more proactive, you know, in terms of monitoring their dietary habits. You know, if they're garbage in, you get garbage
out.
Right, garbage out. So same thing with physical activity. Even just a little physical activity on a regular basis, even walking 3 times a week for 20 minutes, for a lot of people is enough to actually create you know, a healthier individual. So, and people, I think, have a misconception about, well, I've got to do all these things. Well, just getting soda out of your diet. All right, let's just start with something that basic. Or trying to walk 3 times a week for 15 to 20 minutes. Something that basic can actually have profound effect on a lot of different individuals. So I think that my attraction to acupuncture is just that, okay, this is a little different than what, you know, we know in the West. It's very large, it's huge on the coast. Especially on the West Coast, but a lot of the larger cities in the Midwest too, you find all kinds of acupuncturists that make their services available to the general public. So in Springfield, in Central Illinois, we actually have somebody like you. There are other acupuncturists as well that offer their services to and help a lot of people. So
in Springfield, we've got several chiropractors. Acupuncture has still not quite got the grasp here.
Sure.
Have a couple of great docs. Lou DiStagio, very good guy. Dr. Na. All of us have a different style. So it's not one style versus the next. It's
kind of like a
acupuncture.
Massage therapist that may have a different style, or a fitness trainer
for your business.
Sure.
You do a different style than somebody else might be that's more conventional as far as just weights and stuff. You do a lot more body stuff, and that's what attracted me to your business, is the fact that you look at the body on the whole. And sometimes we get compartmentalized. One of the books that I just got done reading by Edward Tenner talks about how technology has actually made us think that everything is so confusing.
Yeah.
When actually all we need to do is just take a step back and realize what we are and who we are. And when you actually get down to the point of understanding that you're putting a lot of garbage into your system and you're asking it to do something, or you're not putting any fuel in it at all.
Right.
You can't be healthy if you don't eat. And you can't be healthy if you don't address the situations. One of the things that I see a lot is people that, would maybe not want to lay down here and get acupuncture. They'll take care of their car very well. If the oil light comes on, they turn right into the mechanic and go get it taken care of. Yet if they get up and they have a headache, they either take an aspirin and go to work, or they'll just tough it out, or they'll say, I don't have time for it. But, we tend to take care of our material things better than we take care of ourselves. When in all actuality, if you don't take care of yourself, the car doesn't get out of, the garage.
I like that. I like that analogy a lot.
So it's just, people don't quite understand yet that acupuncture is something that can help in a lot of various ways. One of my virtues in my practice is the fact that if I can't help you, I'll find somebody that can. And I'm not going to take a lot of money out of your pocket before I realize this.
Right.
Within about 3 visits of acupuncture, I can see how your body's going to absorb it and whether you're in the right place or not. And there's other people out here that need, they've got different specialties, and I'm not afraid to, send them to the right place.
That's what being a professional is all about, doing the right thing, trying to help the person that is seeking your help. So I know we don't have a ton of time, but I want to bring Roger in now, and Roger's going to serve as our guinea pig.
Right.
And we're going to basically experiment on Roger. No, we're not. He's actually going to get a treatment.
Exactly.
Come on in, Roger. Roger, appreciate you joining us today.
Roger's been a client of mine for quite a while, and he's had some recent health issues that we've helped him out with. One of the things that Roger was able to share with us before we started filming today was the fact that he had had a surgery last year, and through the surgery, we did acupuncture before and after, and the home health care nurses that were coming over and taking care of Roger were actually amazed at how he was healing quicker. And they said he was going to be off 6 months of work. He was only off 3.
Wow. Yeah.
So when your body gets aligned, everything is firing correctly. It doesn't take long to get the results. So there's complementary things that acupuncture can do as far as healing with surgeries and with with various things, like with you guys training. If you find somebody that comes in and their mechanics are not correct, instead of training over the top of something and creating something that's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
We get it lined up right, and then get them back in to the program.
That's what we're all about at Body Centric.
That makes sense?
For sure. So show me, obviously acupuncture involves needles.
Yes.
And a lot of people, when they think of needles, they're like, oh my gosh, needles.
Right, right.
I'm scared. But personally, I've had acupuncture performed on me not too long ago. And I know that, I'm a pretty healthy guy. I don't really have any, besides my right shoulder, don't really have anything going on with my body. But what I experienced was, it felt like I had just taken, after my 16-minute, 18-minute treatment session, felt like I'd slept for about 4 or 5 hours. I was completely relaxed.
Exactly. One of the things that you were talking about, the needles, some of the things that people have, they have hang-ups on acupuncture is because they don't like needles.
Sure.
These needles are so far from what you use to draw blood.
I didn't even hardly feel anything.
Exactly.
Right.
There's certain points on the body that are going to sting a little bit.
Sure.
But if you've had your ears pierced or if you've been bitten by a mosquito, you're probably going to feel more than you'll feel when these needles go in.
I'm a big baby, so if I can do it, pretty much everybody else on the planet can.
But the other thing that is interesting, these needles are a one-use needle. We don't reuse them.
Right.
You know, they're used and they're disposed of. Okay.
And they're medically packaged and they
Exactly.
come prepped, and obviously, you know, you would cotton swab somebody appropriately
Right,
with
right.
an alcohol swab rather. and
Roger's, you know, before
been
we got
prepped?
ready,
Okay.
Roger's already been prepped.
Okay.
He's already, we use cotton swabs to, you know, with alcohol to clean the spot before we put the needles in.
Okay, great.
Okay. Now, like I said, with the needles itself, they're so small, it's probably about like maybe a, you know, a fine hair.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
So we'll continue to talk, and let me go ahead and show you what we're doing here.
So for Roger today, this is kind of a general treatment. You have specific treatment protocols for different issues. Say somebody came to you with gout or an arthritic condition per se in a particular joint.
Right.
Your treatment is going to be different for each individual based on what they
Exactly.
present with, correct?
Exactly. What we do is there's various points on the body that will elicit a certain response. And it's the needles themselves. When you put the needle in the point, it
Yep.
will elicit a response.
Okay.
When they're combined with other ones, you get synergistic properties as well, meaning that those needles are actually helping each other out and they're enhancing.
Okay, so what I've noticed so far is that we put 2 needles inside his
Inside his ankles.
inside his ankles, and then we have 2 in the back of his
Exactly.
behind his knees.
Now
And
it's imperative to let you know that these are not just arbitrary points. What
Yeah.
they're basically done is they're on meridians, which is like an energy highway.
okay,
Okay. The meridians are left and right on
Okay.
the body. They're on the front and on the back.
Sure.
There's a chart over here that I have on the wall that kind of denotes the where all the points are at. Okay.
Okay.
So what we're doing with Roger is right now, you know, everybody's starting to talk about the flu shot and everything. So
Certainly.
I've got Roger in here. He was nice enough to come in here today. I'm going to boost Roger's immune system with
Okay.
acupuncture.
Okay.
Okay. Basically, what we're doing is we're taking a general pattern for immune system, and I'm also going to show you some things. Roger's got some issues in his back. We're going to take care of those. In the
Okay.
back of the knee is point bladder 54.
Okay.
That point is the master point for relaxing all the muscles through the back.
Okay.
Okay. So we add a few of those in. This point right up on top of his head is congruent with a soft spot in a baby's head.
So he literally has a needle on the top of his head, and it looks painful, but I've had one on the top of my head, and I hardly felt anything. So
Exactly.
yeah, it looks like like it would be uncomfortable, but
Right.
I can trust me, it's not.
The other thing people commonly ask is they say, you know, how far do these needles go in? And it's only about a 1/16 of an inch. It's not very far,
Okay.
depending on the tissue you're trying to get.
Right.
Obviously, if we're doing the glutes or we're doing something around this area, where
Yeah.
it's got a little more tissue to go through, we can get a little deeper.
Certainly.
Okay. Now the ears tend to be a little bit tender, just
Okay.
because the skin is really small or really thin there.
Thin, right.
What we're doing with Roger here is we're using a point called Shen Men. Shen Men is a great overall point if you've got a lot of stress in your life, just to relax everything.
Okay.
Like you said, you felt like you took a nap.
Yeah.
That's Shen Men.
Okay.
That is that point.
Well, Shin Min's my buddy.
Shen Men is your buddy. And the one thing, you know, interesting with your case is you're fairly healthy, but you do have a shoulder issue.
Right.
What acupuncture actually does is balance the body
Mm-hmm.
from one side to the other. If you're harboring injuries that are on one side, your body's going to force more energy over to this side to try to heal it. What we want to do is centralize everything.
Okay.
The actual human body, the way it's laid out, is very fascinating because the common waste eliminators, the kidneys and the lungs,
Sure.
we have 2 on each side because we need all the help we can get. With the liver, it's on one side and the heart's on the other.
Okay.
That way, if we put everything on one side, you're constantly drawing everything over to this side, and you're going to cause demise and disease based on the fact that everything is not centralized.
So if you place a needle on one side of the body, you place it in the identical spot on the opposing side typically?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And one of the interesting issues with needles that I found, and it's kind of a phenomenon, I would say, I know how far I've stuck them in.
Yeah.
And your body has an innate sense to understand when the healing is needed and when it's not.
Uh-huh.
When I walk away, I know how far I put them in. I've come back before and I've had them barely hanging in the skin.
Okay.
And that's kind of your body's timer. Says,
Okay.
I'm done with this. It's something that's foreign to us because we believe in Western medicine.
Okay.
And Eastern medicine, like I say, really the meshing of the two together don't have a lot in common.
Okay.
Okay. What we're doing over here as we're trying to create, or we're trying to cure disease, what they're doing over there is trying to prevent disease.
It's just a different twist.
Exactly.
Right.
One of the interesting tidbits that I've learned through all the health training that I've had is that the World Health Organization lists the United States the best place to have a disease, like heart disease or cancer,
Right.
or to get shot, or to need some place
Sure.
that you need emergency surgeries, right?
Okay.
You need emergency stuff going on. We're number one. People come to us. In the area of health and prevention, we're number 82 in industrialized countries.
It's pretty far down
We're
the
way
list.
down the list,
Yeah.
because we don't look at anything past today. We don't look at things down the road. Acupuncture serves to pull everything together. It pulls together what's going on with you now, what happened 10 years ago. Some people have stresses and they have disorders and they have depression and things of that sort because what is going on in their mind, and
Right.
they can't get rid of it. Acupuncture has some amazing points right below the clavicle that are called great letting go points. You know, a loved one that you lost. You know, you lost your job and you're harboring that to the next job, and that's causing something that's not what you're wanting to do. Acupuncture can take care of it.
Let me understand in terms of the types of individuals that you could help. You know, I think I called you not too long ago about a client of mine who has, an, for lack of better words, irritable bowel syndrome. People that have different types of allergies, like I said, gout, arthritis, constant headaches, a big one.
Right.
You know,
Right.
headaches. A lot of people have migraine headaches or, you know, issues related to.
All different kinds of headaches. An interesting case that I've had in here in the last couple of weeks, multiple sclerosis.
Okay.
Guy came in, he was referred by his wife, which works for my mom. And he came in, there's a nerve that comes out of the side of your face that branches out 3 ways.
Okay.
The plaquing part of the multiple sclerosis is on the root of that nerve. This gentleman would wake up in the morning and sometimes not even be able to open his mouth to say hi
Wow.
because there was so much pain. For 4 years, he went through a series of different medications to no avail. 18 minutes with needles, his pain medication's almost gone.
That's awesome.
You know, so this guy's now,
Yeah.
when he walked in to my office, looked like somebody, you know, looked like
Right.
his dog had run off
Right.
and somebody burned his house down. Now this
Right.
guy bounces in.
Right.
The other thing that I've been able to deal with was fibromyalgia,
Okay.
rheumatoid arthritis, asthma. Asthma is a big thing that you know takes a
lot of
lot
young
of people
kids
out
have,
of it.
right.
But the other thing that we've got right now that we're dealing with is allergies, sinus issues.
Right.
Acupuncture is phenomenal for all of its stuff.
And what's interesting is that I work with a lot of medical doctors, and a lot of them are big into, well, show me the research. You know, why does this treatment protocol, or why does this work? How did, you know, show me the proof.
Right.
So, you know, some things, and even in traditional, even in Western medicine, that some things can't be fully explained with a research study per se.
Exactly.
Sometimes the treatment even shocks some physicians.
Right.
So I think maybe some people that might be watching, well, you know, how can that help all these different things? Well, it's not going to help everyone, but
No.
there are people that it could, you know, it's oftentimes it could complement maybe the treatment plan that they're
Exactly.
currently on.
And what I've done is I've taken, you know, to give you an example, I had a lady in here. She's got severe stenosis in her around her spinal cord.
Spinal stenosis. I have several people like that.
For everybody to understand, it's basically the hole where the nerve goes through, where the spinal
Smaller
cord
and
goes
smaller,
through,
right.
gets smaller and smaller.
Right.
She came in because her hands were starting to go numb and they didn't feel right. We got her feeling better, but upon looking at the reports from her physician, it wasn't taking care of the problem.
Okay.
But what it did do was make her tissues healthier so that when she goes into the surgery, she rebounds quicker.
Right.
Okay.
So just little things like that, it's you know, the quality of life
Right.
is worth so much.
Right, right. And acupuncture
With
is
so
not a
much.
cure-all for everything. You know, if you let something go too long, obviously you're not going to ever bring it back. You
Absolutely.
can't. At the same point, what I like to do is let people know that, you know what, you don't just have to live with it anymore. Our society has gotten to the point to where we think that, well, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And in some areas of your life that may be, but in your health it doesn't have to be. You know, I'm reading a book right now called The Slight Edge, and it's by Jeff Olson. One of the things that he says in there is he talks about, you know, it's never too late to start, but it's always too late to wait.
I like that. Can I steal that?
You can have it.
Okay,
You
great.
can also read the book if you'd like.
That's
But
awesome.
anyway, what we're looking at is you know, just because your health is in a downward spiral doesn't mean you have to let it go.
Okay.
A lot of people, once they achieve a certain age, they quit moving side to side. They quit moving, doing any kind of sorts of activities like we used to do.
Right.
That starts the cascade of downward spiral, bad health, that type of thing. All of a sudden,
Right.
we don't eat right, we don't feel good, we sleep long hours. Chronic fatigue syndrome. Chronic fatigue syndrome on this table, you're done. It's over. Chronic fatigue syndrome basically is you don't eat properly. You're not getting the movement that you need. Your body is a constant movement. From the time we're conceived, these cells are moving. They're creating what we see when we look in the mirror. But even when we sleep at night, our bodies are still moving. They're meant for movement. So what we're looking at doing is restoring proper movement, and then getting to somebody such as you that can teach them how to do it properly and how to have fun with it.
Right.
You know, you go by parks and stuff and you see people running, but they don't realize that you can bring your kids and have fun. You know, and we look at things we get, like I said before, we get too complicated sometimes. We just need to back up
You got that right.
and relax.
Yep, I would
Right?
agree. I know we just have a few minutes left, and Roger is snoring. Just kidding. He's relaxing there. Normally, the treatment takes about 16 to 18
About
minutes.
16 to
here.
18
So
minutes.
it's not too long.
Right.
You know, not too much time out of your day.
Exactly.
And then if people are interested in utilizing your services, they can certainly call you, Dr. Scott. We're going to post your contact information at the end of the program with your
Okay.
phone number so people
I
can
appreciate it.
call you. In closing, is there anything you'd like to add about acupuncture?
I'd just like to tell you that acupuncture is probably the best thing that I've ever found as far as giving somebody hope back into their life. Because what we're looking at is, you know, our society needs help in the realm of understanding that we don't just have to live with it. That's my slogan. It's on my banner.
Yeah.
It says you don't just have to live with it anymore. You know, we can get things going. Acupuncture is relatively inexpensive, depending on the case. You know, when you look at economics, you've got people spending almost a car payment a month on medications.
Sure.
When they can actually bring that back and put it into their own bank account and they can go on vacation.
Right.
You know, get healthy,
Right.
give it a try. It's not for everybody, but if it's for you, I'm here.
Okay, awesome. Well, Dr. Scott, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
call
you,
you
Chad.
Clint.
Yeah, that works for me.
Thanks again.
Thank you
Roger,
very much.
you did a good job. You can wake up now and stop snoring. All right. Thanks again for joining me on another edition of Personal Health and Fitness. Until next time, I'm your host, Chad Marshak. Hey, Quinn and Riley.